So, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
And good morning, everyone sitting across all centers in India. So, welcome. Now, today I am going to ask you many questions and answer very few of them. Because you need to have your answers. And I know you people have the answers. You may be sitting on them, not coming up with your answers, and maybe seeking it outside of you. So can I expect you all to participate and find your answers rather than looking forward to me to give you the answers? Okay. So, I will begin with a few questions for you. And I'm sure you know the answer to these questions. And if you think you don't know, it's okay. Find out for yourself. So the first question I have is, what is that one thing that will give you all the power and freedom in your preparation for the civil services interview and all that you want to cause for yourself in the boardroom and thereafter? One thing. Because if I talk about two things, we might go haywire. So I want you to focus on one thing, and everything else will be driven by that one thing. Okay, so let's hear.
So faith and confidence.
Faith and confidence. Okay. Confidence. Okay. My question would be, what will give you all the confidence and clarity, and what will get you all the faith in yourself? Okay, fearlessness, what will get you that? Preparation, okay. What will make your preparation truly powerful?
Practice.
Oh, what will drive your practice and bring in consistency in your practice? Dedication, what will make you dedicated? Aim to achieve more than 200 marks in the interview. No? What will give you that, conviction? Yeah? Attitudinal change. But what will bring about that attitudinal change? Passion, introspection. See, I want all of you to go a level deeper than where you are. Whatever you say, my question will be, what will get you that? Inner urge. What will get you that inner urge? Need. Yes. The quest for happiness. What will get you that? What will get you there? Put you on track. If you say quest for happiness, something will drive that quest. Yes or no? Many people give up that quest. Motivation. What will keep you motivated? See, all of you are answering my question at a certain level. I want you to go a level deeper than at which you are looking at the questions right now. To get authority. Okay, you have gone a level up rather than going down or deep.
So we ourselves have to drive.
You yourself have to drive. Okay. Dream, okay, dreams, aspirations, all right. wisdom. Okay, so I did not get my answer, while all of you have been trying to answer, and all your answers are right, but not the one that I am looking at. Okay, so let me ask you another question. Do you want me to talk small or talk big? Small. Talk small? You want me to engage you into small talk about civil services? About this interview? Yeah? Small talk? Small talk or big talk? Okay, small thinking or big thinking? Big thinking. Okay? Is everyone sure? Big thinking or small thinking? Anybody for small thinking? Small thinking. Alright, I would suggest think global and act local. So don't go for a small thinking, because you will never go beyond your thoughts. So think big. Yes or no? Okay. So big thinking? Okay. Small talk or big talk? Small talk? Small talk? Are you going to talk small in the boardroom? Huh? Why do you want to become a civil servant? Sir, I want to earn my salary, no? Take care of my family, my kids should go to a decent school, no? I want power and prestige, and I want to make some money. No, the wrong way. Small talk. No, I'm saying small talk. If you had to choose between big talk or small talk, what would you choose? Okay. Okay. I'll leave it to you, because I said I am not here to give you all the answers. Alright. So my question remains, what is one thing that will give you all the power in your preparation, all the power in your interview, inside the boardroom and beyond that, when you get into the service and beyond that, as long as you be in the service and beyond that, as long as you live and beyond that? Okay. Okay. So I'll ask another question to you, and a very simple question, and I would like all of you to look at every question that I ask you as a question in the boardroom. Yeah? Can we practice that? A question inside the boardroom. Whatever question I ask. And whatever question I ask is a question to you sitting in your chair, none else. In this room, only two of us exist, me and you. Nobody else. Even if you do not answer my question, it's okay, but can you answer it in your head? Can you attempt it there? You may be a little apprehensive, a little shy of talking in public. It's okay, but keep answering the questions. Inside or outside. Alright, so one question, and a very simple question, and many of you have been students here, so you would know the answer. So if you already know the answer, alright, allow other people to answer this question. Can you do that? So in that case, you answer it inside your head. Let that challenge be there for others. Say, if I kill someone, what will happen to me? If I kill someone, what will happen to me? Go ahead. Yeah? Guilt? Guilt? Yes? Regret? Okay. Getting punished. Okay, okay. Yes? I might be prosecuted, so guilt, I might be prosecuted, I might be punished. Yes?
Actually, it depends on someone.
Alright, yes?
Loss of life.
Loss of life. Whose life? Someone I killed, he lost his life. So I said, what will happen to me? Yes. Try.
So it depends whom I am killing.
Okay.
Sir, what will to you or
To me. I killed someone. What will happen to me? Yes.
For what reason, sir?
Person sitting at the back. White shirt. Sorry, I don't know your name. Legal prosecution. Okay. Yes. Lady. Punishment. Yes.
So there will be ethical and legal repercussions.
There will be ethical and legal repercussions. Okay. Yes, lady.
Sir, depends whom you kill.
Okay, lady.
It depends on personality of the person.
Okay. Yes. My partner who is wearing a spec.
Same thing depends on the personality of the person. If he is serial killer, he will.
Oh, depends upon the personality of the killer. If he is a serial killer, then the punishment will be more severe.
If he is a good person, he will feel guilty.
If he is a good person, he will feel guilty. Okay.
But if he is a soldier, he might be rewarded as well.
Okay, very good. So, I said, some of you need to be answering this question in your head. Alright? Some of you are getting the answer to this question. Many of you did not get. It's okay, absolutely okay. Now, for both sets of people, whether you got it or you didn't, I would give you a hint. Say, I killed a terrorist who is shooting at a crowd with his AK-56, rifle. And already, say, 50 people in the crowd have been killed. I shoot this terrorist point blank. What will happen to me?
Sense of pride. Save the lives.
Will I be punished? Will I be hanged?
Might get awarded.
Oh, okay, I might get awarded. All right. I killed a robber who has 10 crores on his head to be caught live or dead. I kill him and bring him to the police station. What will happen to me? I'll get 10 crores. I'll give 5 to his family and keep 5 with myself. Good idea. So my question remains, if I kill someone, what will happen to me? Yes.
Sir, even in these both cases you just mentioned,
Yeah.
if you are a sensitive person, you will still have a guilt to have killed a human being.
Okay, that's fine. But I said what will happen to me? How I will think or how I will feel, that was not my question. My question was, if I kill someone, what will happen to me?
So it is very subjective to answer because it will depend on personality of the person. It will depend on situation.
Very good, exactly. So, our friend is saying it will depend upon something or certain things. I agree to that, very much agree to that, and take your point. So, it's not the act of killing that will decide what will happen to me. It is why I killed that will decide what will happen to me. Yes or no? So in law, there are two things. that will constitute a murder. Something called actus rea and mens rea. Actus rea is the presence of the act of killing. Somebody has been killed. Alright? And mens rea, the intention of killing. Suppose I did not have the intention of killing someone, alright, and that person died. Will it be murder? No. There is something called homicide maybe. Maybe certain situations it will not even constitute a homicide. Because I was not behind it, that person slipped and fell and, died. So the presence of the act and the presence of intention of killing, alright, or the reason behind killing. So the reason is more fundamental. The reason is more fundamental. So it is said, it is not the death, but the cause that makes a martyr. Many people die, but they are not treated as martyrs. Why did they die? For what cause? So which is more fundamental? The act of killing or the reasons behind it? The reasons behind it. So many people said, sir, it depends. Very good. It will depend upon many other things, not just the act of killing. Alright? Alright. So, a second question for you, or let me tell you a story. Can I tell you a story? Very short one. Yes? You don't mind? Or you will like it? Okay. This is a very simple story. 3 history teachers teaching in a school were asked this question, what do you do? The first history teacher said, oh, I just teach history, and that too to school kids. The second history teacher was asked the same question, what do you do? He thought a little and came up with an answer that was a little deeper. He said, I am in the business of educating children. The third history teacher was asked the same question. What do you do? He looked straight into the eyes of the questioner and said, I am shaping the destiny of the nation. I teach young minds how to make history. Now, I want you to look at all these 3 teachers. They are teaching the same subject, history, all to the school kids, the same content, maybe to the same class. What is it that will give them the power? What is it that will give them all the joy and the thrill and the ecstasy of teaching? The content is the same. Same content. So not the act, but the intention. Not the content, but the context of teaching. It is the context that is decisive, not the content. Not what you say, why you are saying what you are saying. That's going to be critical. So I repeat, the context is decisive. It will alter everything for you. If you alter your context, it will alter everything for you. A new context gives a new meaning to the same content. Yes or no? So then I have one of the most important questions that I am going to ask you in the entire conversation. Can you guess what that question is? And that's the most important question that you will need to ever answer for your interview. Most important. It may not be asked. It may not be asked. But this answer will drive everything else. Some of you guessed it right. What's that question? Why civil services? Wonderful. So most of you got it. Congratulations. This is not a question to be mechanically answered. Or you take opinion of 5 people and then cobble up an answer and no. Just try to present it before the board if at all the question is asked. I am saying even if this question is not asked, this is the most fundamental question that will dictate all that you will do in your preparation. All that you will do in the boardroom. And beyond that, in your service. And beyond that, after you retire. And beyond that. And beyond that. It's like, what's your context of living life? And if you do not appreciate that, my question remains, why do you want to be a civil servant? And many of us will shy, talking big, thinking big, feeling big, because you were in a state of confusion when I said, oh, should we think big or think small? So, talk big, talk small, or talk deep, talk shallow. Let's see. Let's get the answer to this. Talk deep, or talk shallow? Talk deep? Alright. Anybody for shallow? Shallow talking?
It depends on with whom you are talking.
It depends on with whom you are talking.
If somebody is not getting your deep, what's the...
If somebody is not getting what I'm saying, I will make attempts to have him get it. Yes or no? I'll create a system, an ecosystem where people start getting. If there are some barriers to listening, we will make attempts to dissolve those barriers. Yes or no? But I'm not here to give you answers and thrust my ideas upon you, not at all. You said the most important question will be, why civil services? Now my next question is, have you found an answer to this? You are in process? See, if this is going to be in process, then all the other questions will continue to be in process. Your preparation will not even begin. So how about finding an answer to this question right now, right here? And the story should give you enough clues. And it's not about just talking. So you design an answer and you mechanically present it to people or to the board. No. You got to own that answer. You got to own it. If you don't own it, then it will not drive everything. It doesn't become your context. It is somebody else's context that you have cut and paste. You know, you are doing some copyright violation. No. It should get into your, state of being. Unless it seeps deep into you, it runs into your blood and soul, it doesn't become your context. It will not drive all that needs to be driven. So many of us will shy. Even talking about shaping the destiny of the nation. Why? Because you may not have it in you. Your words will not have power. So that's why I'm saying you need to use a certain language, design a certain answer, internalize it, imbibe it, let it go deep into you, and allow that to take charge. Should I talk small or talk big? I don't know. If you say talk small, it'll be the most challenging thing ever for me. Think small, think big. Deep, shallow. Why should I do that? Why don't you guys do that? Why don't we get into that conversation? And be in that conversation, stay in that conversation. Not just for the sake of this interview. Okay, so stretch your imagination, allow all your creativity, full play to be able to design an answer on why civil services, and not just mechanically answering it, and look at answering this question in 100 different ways if it is needed. It could be why IAS or why IPS. All right, or why IRS, or why civil services? And if not civil services, will you give up on this context? They might ask you, okay, say you don't get into civil services, then what will you do? And why will you do that? That's the next question. So will your context alter? So I'm saying your context should not alter, no matter what you do in life. IAS or IPS or a teacher or an entrepreneur or whatever, as a human being, as a husband or a wife, will you stand for that context? Because that context is something fixed for you. No matter what you do, where you go, that gives you your state of being. And then you can experience that state of integrity. What you say and what you think and what you feel and what you be, they're all aligned and they drive your actions. So this interview is not about how many questions you will be answering in the boardroom. No, how many is not important. It's not important. You may not answer 50% of the questions, and yet you can get the highest marks. Yeah? Does Virat Kohli play every ball? Yet he is breaking records one after other. So it's not about how many questions you will answer. No. How you answer those questions and how well you answered the ones that you answered. Right? And not your answers. Where are you coming from? What is your context? The context is decisive. The context will give you the power. The interview is not a test of the content, not simply a test of the content. Far more importantly, it is a test of your context. And of course, the content will follow. So, can I leave you to design this answer? I'm saying design this answer. Not mechanically. Allow yourself to get inside this question. And keep refining your answer till the time you reach your best and you say, this is it, this is me, this is how I'm going to live my life. You might fall, you might slip off the context for a moment, it's okay. It's okay. Will you bounce back? Will you get back to it? Does that context inspire you so much that no matter what happens, you get back to it? You're naturally attracted to it. And you don't shy from sharing it with people. Okay, good, thank you. Now, would you have a question for me? One question? Not right now? It's okay not to raise a question right now. One hand goes up. Yes, dear.
If we compare Gandhi and Hitler, we can say that Gandhi was Gandhi favored big thinking and small talk. Because like if you will see disobedience and non-cooperation, or if someone left you, give you an social, and if you will see Hitler means small thinking.
So for the benefit of our friends, one of our friends is comparing Gandhi and Hitler. Would you like to come here so that I don't need to repeat the question? So that you hear the question from the horse's mouth. You can come this side. You can come this side, yes. You are very much visible. Come closer. Closer. Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
If you will compare Gandhi and Hitler, we can say that Gandhi was giving big thinking with small talk. And like civil disobedience, non-cooperation, these things were, satyagraha, these things were big thinking but small talk, like in the way.
I will support you.
Yes, sir.
I would say big thinking and deep talking. Rather than saying small talk, big thinking and deep talking, where he got connected with people. Now when we say Swachh Bharat, it's a deep talk. Cleaning our toilets, cleaning our home, cleaning our neighborhood. It's not small talk. It's a deep talk. Because if each one of us can keep our homes clean and our neighborhoods clean, the whole world will be clean. Yes or no? So that's deep talking. Let's not say small talking. And I would suggest you to review your understanding of think global, act local. Probably you are confusing with that when we say act local. Act one by one, step by step. Alright? You say, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, begins with a single step. That's not small. The context is huge, and then you need to take your steps one by one. So physically these steps may be small, but they will add up to a huge thing. Yes? Is that okay?
My question is not...
please. So, I distracted you from your question. Sorry.
And sir, if we compare Hitler, means his thinking was small and his talks were bigger and also deep because he was connecting to the people.
Okay.
And why big? Because he was telling that we will make Germany greater and Germany gets greater. This kind of things he was using. So is it that the winner who wins is we glorify him, or it is just another way?
All right, thank you. Thank you for your question. And I want you to stay here. See, Hitler had great intentions. Yes or no? To set everyone right. Yes? Hitler, what? Mussolini. And did Gandhi also not have this? Was he also not on this mission to set the world right? Yes. But the means were different. The means were different. The context was different. So, the context of Hitler drove him to use violence. The context of Gandhi drove him to live a life of non-violence. He said, truth is my God, and non-violence the means to realizing Him. So the methods were born out of the difference in the context. So will you find your answer? My question is, will you find your answer?
Actually, sir, my question was, which one is better, small talk and big thinking or big...
I said no.
At present, the political situation in countries that political leaders means most of the leaders are talking big, but their thinking is small.
They're talking big and their thinking is small. I would say big talk is born out of big thinking. How can somebody think small and talk big? Our words are born out of our thoughts. Okay. Sit down. I am incidentally carrying a very beautiful book. I'll read something from there. It will be very much, within this context. All right? There is a lesson that we can learn from the mountains. A mountain climbing. Can I read it? Just a small paragraph. So what can we learn from mountain climbing? He says, keep your eye fixed on the way to the top. But don't forget to look right in front of you. I repeat, keep your eye fixed on the way to the top, but don't forget to look right in front of you. The last step depends on the first. If you slip, you will not be able to reach the end point. So the last step depends on the first. Don't think you are there just because you see the summit. Watch your footing. Be sure of the next step. But don't let that distract you from the highest goal. The first step depends on the last. If you know your goal, the first step, you will move in that direction. And one more, and one more, and one more. Yes or no? First step depends on the last. And the last depends on the first, and one more, and one more, and one more. So we think backwards and act forwards. So, I wouldn't subscribe to, and I will invite all of you to look at the difference between small talk and deep talk. Let's drop this small talk business. Let's talk deeply. Yeah? Big thinking, global thinking, no? Think for the humanity, think ethical, all right? And when we are on a mission to accomplish our dreams, our thoughts, the big things, it will take time. That will be step by step. It will take time. It may not happen in our lifetimes. It may not. Should you give up on that? Because it will not happen in the next 1 year or 2 years or 10 years or 50 years. It's about playing a game, setting up a game for ourselves, enjoying that game. No? Can I leave you with that? Yes? Okay. I hope it was very much contextual, the mountain climbing. Yes? So, think from the top and act from the bottom. Think backwards and act forwards. Never think small. Never think small. For you will never go beyond your thoughts. Think big, feel big, be big, act one by one. Brick by brick, step by step. That's how the world of action will work. All right, very good. Thank you. So, let me move. Why civil services is the most important question, and that is what will drive everything for you. Let's see how it will drive us. So, and all that we talked at the beginning about thinking big and so on. So I have some questions for you again, and I want you to keep answering these questions. I will keep supporting some hints. Sometimes I may answer those questions. Please forgive me for that. I don't want to, but I may end up answering. So what are you guys going for? Will be going for? Yes? You will be going for what? Civil services. What? Interview. Huh? You will be going for civil services interview. And this interview, what are they going to test? Oh, it's a personality test. Personality test. So, personality and test. Now, these 4 words we need to understand and appreciate. So you're writing this exam. If I ask you what the word civil means, I hope you know the answer. Yes, can I expect? Sure? You have read so much, but you would not have cared to look up the dictionary for the word civil. Yes or no? Tell me. You would not have. Most people I come across, if I ask, okay, have you looked up some dictionary? Do you know what is the word root here? How this word civil evolved? Even if you did not look up the dictionary, you have the necessary intelligence and the level of language to understand and appreciate what civil means. You can just think of some similar words, words that are made out of civil. Okay, civil, civilized. Okay, civilization. And one of our friends said civic. Civic. Oh, that's the root. And you can go further or deeper into this root. Civic, urbane, polished, polite. So I invite you to look into the dictionary, get onto the net and look at where does this word come from. Will you do that? It's a good idea to do that. Rather than me telling you and you write down and go home and say, oh, sir told us what the word civil means. I never knew that. No, that will be unfair on my part. And servant. Do you want to be a servant? Do you want to be a servant? No, this word is not, said with much pride. It is many times derogatory when we say servant. Yes or no? So are you going to be a servant or a civil servant? An urbane, a polished, a polite servant. And your job is to serve whom? People, the society, the nation. Yes? So there is a difference between a servant and a civil servant. Yes? Servants do not have authority. A civil servant has the necessary authority and the power and the resources. Yes? And can create resources. A servant would be subservient to whom? A master. Right? A civil servant will be guided by whom, will serve whom, will be subservient to whom? To the law of the land. To law of the land. Alright? Will work in whose interest? In the national interest. In the interest of the people. In the interest of humanity. There's a difference. So you are not going to be a servant, you are going to be a civil servant or a public servant. Yes? So, if you look at this word bureaucracy in Hindi, what does it mean, you know? Naukar Shahi. Naukar Shahi. Shah is a king. Right? So, actually translated, it would mean a servant leader. A servant leader. A leader who serves. Or a king who is king by the virtue of serving his people. And that's how we had great kings in history. So I want you to look at this expression and explore what servant leadership is. Servant leadership. Servant leader. Alright? So you are going to be a civil servant. You are going to be a servant leader. You are going to have your power and authority drawn from the law of the land. Alright? And you will be exercising this power and authority in the interest of the people, in the interest of this society, this nation, right? You will be working towards transforming whatever comes your way. Now, is this big talk? No, we are just trying to understand, look at the game that we are playing. That's it. Nothing more. And what is interview? Huh? Interview? Okay. View. View means seeing. No? If you view something, what are you doing? Seeing, inquiring, investigating with a purpose to know what it is. Yes? And inter is between, okay, like interval. An inter can be among, like international. Alright? So between or among. Or maybe across. Look into the dictionary. Right? What does it mean here? A face-to-face interaction. But if I go a little deeper, I would say it is not just mechanically viewing you. 5 members sitting, right? And with their eyes open and they look at you, view you. And say, okay, go. No. They're there to peep into you. Not just look at what you have to say, also look at where are you coming from. Why you are saying what you are saying. What's your context? What's your mental makeup? Do you mean what you say? So viewing inside, in between the words that you will speak. So the interview, they will not just take your words for granted. Whatever you say, they will take it as it is. No, they will not. They will not. So it is not just a test of your verbal communication. More importantly, it is a test of your non-verbal communication. Your attitude, who you are, is more important than what you are speaking. What you are speaking is important, but there is something far deeper that holds that. See, I just heard someone saying, and many people have said this, that most of these movie actors and actresses, if you actually meet them, you will be disappointed. Maybe in terms of the looks, in terms of the aura that's created, through movies, the big picture or the big image that is created, all that will be shattered when you meet them in person. You say, oh, I thought it this way. How many of us are meeting first time in the physical classroom? Not we sat, because you will be misled because you are watching my picture, not me. Yes, so many of us in the physical classroom, are we meeting first time? How many of us are meeting first time? Can you just raise your hand? Okay, very good. You must have walked in with an image of Shashank atom, right? And when I walked in, met you, I said, oh, such a small guy. Yeah? Seems pretty old, outdated. Maybe not the way I thought he would be. Some dissonance you found or not? You should have. So the picture is not the reality. The video is not the reality. Interview is a time for a reality check. What you write in the examination is not reality. That you have created. Here, it's time to check. Do you mean what you are saying? Do you live what you say? Not that they have a foolproof system of testing it. No, yet they can judge it better during a personal interaction. So, they're there to look and see between what you speak. Like we say, no, reading between the lines. So it is like listening between the words. Alright? Viewing between the words. Not just the verbal, the non-verbal. And it is said, experts say, that 90% of all that we communicate is non-verbal and only 10% is verbal. So our eyes, our face and facial expressions, they constitute about 50% of all that we communicate. And the 40% body language, gestures, postures, hand movement, and so on. And the non-verbal also includes the pause, the accent, the tone, the volume, not just the words, how they are being thrown at you. How is it coming? From what depths? We'll look at this aspect of the interview, and mind you, you cannot change your non-verbal by looking at the non-verbal gestures, postures, etc. No, you cannot change it there at that level. You need to go deeper. As I said, if you transform your context, you transform everything. Everything will alter. If you don't transform the context, nothing happens. Nothing gets altered. You live at the same level all your life, unless you transform something that dictates your attitude, your behavior, your words, your actions. So don't forget the first question and the first lesson, the context being decisive. Don't forget this. And don't forget to answer the most fundamental question. Why civil services? Right? And not only why civil services, it needs to be large enough to subsume why this life? If not civil services, what else and why? And what beyond civil services and what before civil services? Something that will do everything for you. Alright, and then we have another word, personality. What does this mean? Yes? What does this mean? Simple understanding, simple definition, very simple. The persona of a person. No, but oh, very good, very good. Sum total of who you are. So will it include the externalities? Yes. The way you dress, is that a part of personality? Yes. But there is something far more deeper and more important than your dress. Alright? So the way you walk, the way you talk, what you wear, how you conduct yourself, all this is a part of personality, and your thoughts and feelings, right? Your context and the content. Both will constitute your personality. Both. I said sum total of it. But which drives the other? Which drives the other? The content drives the context, or the context drives the content? The context drives the content. Your inner state of being will drive the content of your personality. Yes? So, is it a test of your knowledge, interview? Yes, no. Yes, who said no? Said sum total of you. So your knowledge is a part of your personality. Why not? If it is a test of how you dress up and how you walk in, right, or how impressive you are at the first look, no? It's also a test of your knowledge. How much? That's another question. How much? That's another question. It's definitely a test of your knowledge and a test of your wisdom. It's definitely a test of your intelligence, your IQ, and your EQ, your emotional quotient. If we break it further, it is a test of your PQ, IQ, EQ, SQ, HQ, so many Qs. Your physical quotient, yes, you will be going for a medical examination. However, the physicality is in certain cases given less importance. There are certain requirements that need to be met for different services. So PQ is there. Even in the boardroom, some PQ will show up, and your IQ and your EQ, both combined will say your emotional intelligence. It's definitely a test of your emotional intelligence. Your spiritual quotient, your happiness quotient, your balance quotient, your integrity quotient, whatever quotient Q add to any of these adjectives. But the focus is not just on the IQ. In fact, the interview is more a test of your emotional intelligence than anything else. All right. So, one question maybe somebody wants to raise. And right now I don't want to take current affairs questions. That will come. All right. And there are teachers who are far better equipped than me to answer those questions. Right. So Jojo Matthews and Manish Gautam, they're masters of this game. So anything current affairs, we will have them here. All right, you could interact with them. Though, I will also get into this territory, but in a different way. All right, so that we help you get the answer to all your questions. Find your answers. Yeah, one hand went up, so can you please raise your... Okay.
Inner state of personality is right context.
Huh?
Inner state of personality is content. I was simply putting context and content. So inner state of personality should be content.
See, our friend is asking inner state of personality is content. No, I would just say there is something inside you which is not easily seen, alright, and there is something outside you which is easily seen, right? Say for example, what you speak I can easily get. Why you are speaking what you are speaking will be a little challenging to get. Yes or no? What is the thought behind what you are speaking may be difficult to get. Right? So there is something visible and there is something invisible. There is something manifest, something unmanifest. Something seen, something hidden. Yes or no? We say unconscious, subconscious, conscious. Alright? You may not be aware of the subconscious state that drives you. Alright? When I am talking about context, I am talking about the subconscious level. %90 of your actions will be driven by your subconscious. And when I am saying alter our context, I am actually referring to altering what is there in our subconscious. Alright? So, let's make it simple. Sum total of all that is you, right? Something hidden and something seen and manifest. Certain things are hidden from you too. You may not be able to see. They could be, they could be, say, blind spots. Alright? Don't worry. You will get to see it in the last session when we do our live group mock. Right? You will be watching and then we will be giving feedback to the person and then we will come and discuss with you also what you noticed. So it will be happening in another room and we will be relaying it live here and we will come and discuss. So you will be able to see how we see what is ordinarily not seen. How we get that out. How the board members get to see that. That's something which is hidden or invisible. Alright. We'll have a hands-on experience of this and you will be telling us what you observed. Okay? So when you see it for yourself, you would know the same process you will need to go through. Yes? One more? Yes.
I was just wondering if bureaucracy or the interview board.
Can you come here?
Sure.
It seems you will be talking a little long, so it's better that I call you and we save time from unnecessary repetition. Come here, come on the camera. Come closer.
Do I need the mic?
Yeah. When you speak, you need the mic. Yes.
So I was just wondering if bureaucracy or the interview board has a particular kind of bias towards a certain mode of ethical reasoning. What I mean by that is it more utilitarian? Is it more deontological? For example, right is right no matter what, or that is right, which causes the maximum utility to the maximum amount of people. So is it because the answers that we might give might reflect a particular kind of ethical bias that we might have? And the interview panel might have an ethical bias of their own, because of the fact that they are bureaucrats or bureaucracy has a particular kind of, ethical orientation. So in cases of conflicts of, our ethical reasoning and their ethical expectations of a future bureaucrat, how do we resolve conflicts like those?
It'll be a good idea to look at some questions to resolve it. All right, rather than talking all theory. Yes? But before we look at some questions maybe, I would like you to be guided by one document if at all? Why if at all? You should be guided by one document, that's the Constitution of India. That's the most fundamental document, and it will take a whole lifetime, if not many lifetimes, to be able to understand and appreciate the Constitution. Alright? Internalize it, imbibe it, allow it to run in our heart and soul. But let's make it simple. The entire Constitution of India is guided by few words on the first page, the preamble, the essence, the spirit of the Constitution. So I would like you people, all of you, to know the preamble word by word, word by word. And then, having learned that, grasping the intent or the spirit behind every word. Behind every word. This will be a simple job for you, simple task. Yes or no? Not too many words to handle, not too much text to handle. I'm saying that's the source of everything that is India and that is Indian. Right? That's the source of, that's the guiding light. You say we. Oh, we're saying we. Not I, not you. The people. Having solemnly resolved. Why solemn? Why not just resolved? Why solemnly? Why divinely? Why bring in God here? And why resolved? To constitute India. I constitute India. Into a sovereign socialist. Now look at each of these words. Secular, democratic, republic. Now each word, if you can get one word completely in letter and spirit, you will never go wrong. If you just get this word democratic, democracy, job is done. So the guiding principles: apply equality where it needs to be applied. Where we cannot apply, switch to equity. Where it cannot be applied, switch to majority. Alright? And there are different forms of majority, and the last one is first past the post. Even if you got 30% of the votes, right? Still you can run the country because the next party got 29. Say everywhere. Right? So where we cannot apply, we go to the next best and the next best and the next best. Right? Can you be guided in all your thoughts and action by the word socialist? Why shy away from it? This is the guiding light. We have resolved to use these principles or get it scrapped off, delete it from the preamble and the Constitution wherever it applies, No, but we have chosen. We have chosen. And not mechanically chosen. There are thousands of reasons why we have chosen that. So, let's not complicate matters. Let's keep it simple. Whatever questions you have, right? Whatever you are applying, all ethics will be born out of your preamble. Everything. Just spend time with preamble. Just keep that with yourself. Uphold the preamble. Appreciate it in letter and spirit. And start using it. That'll be easy for you. The entire legal judicial system is born out of this, no?
Yeah.
All laws, all acts, all policies, everything without exception. And if it is in contradiction, it must be altered, it must be amended. No, those laws must be amended. So we'll apply it, and we should talk deep and talk simple. Secularism is not anything, difficult to understand. Respect for all religions. While you practice yours and propagate yours, don't look down upon others. You talk everything good about your religion, fine, perfect. All are born equal. All are equal. All are equal. Not just born equal. Democracy is about equality. But then, are all equal in terms of height and weight and shape and size and wealth and the salary or the income that they earn? No, it cannot be. So, what do we mean when we say all are equal? In terms of treatment, in terms of respect, dignity. We say equality before law. And then we say fairness and justice. One word if you get and you start applying it. If I had to choose, I would choose democratic. If I had to choose, and I can go into every bit of constitution and every law, every act, every policy from here, democracy. Or say equality, all are equal, and from here we get everywhere. No? Navigate the entire territory with this. And we will need to keep modifying it, as I said. Equality becomes equity, and so on. We don't say, regional equality, we say regional equity. Right? Or regional balance. Even the principle of universal adult franchise, it's not equal vote for everyone, no? People below a certain age cannot vote, so where is the equality? It is a universal adult franchise. And there will be some exceptions to that. No? Alright. So, I will suggest that. I carry a copy of the preamble to the Constitution. Wherever it is always with me. In my mobile, in my bag. I will always carry a sheet. Alright. I would suggest remember it. Every word, remember it. word by word, word for word. Okay. And I said big talk, fine. We prefer deep talk and simple language. Don't complicate the language. Simple language. Keep it simple so that it can be understood in one go. Okay, now, you see there are a couple of things that I would like to quickly indicate. I want you to know and appreciate that the interview and the civil services interview is a different game than the civil services main examination, which is a different game from the civil services preliminary examination. Right? It's a different games. Of the same genre, right? These are different subspecies, and every game is defined by the rules. Like preliminary had a set of rules, no? How to answer, how to fill up your OMR sheet, right? It's objective and you cannot dock in two circles for the same question and so on, right? There are rules for it. There is something that is being tested, or there is a certain purpose of the preliminary to screen out the majority. Alright? That's the purpose. And then there is a certain purpose of the main examination to test certain set of skills and knowledge and the variety and the depth and so on. Yes or no? Certain skills like your ability to comprehend or understand the subject, the questions, your ability to think fast, think creatively, your ability to write, express yourself, no? And so many other things. Now, similarly, the interview is a different game altogether. You cannot play one game by the rules of another game, can you? So it's very important to understand the rules of this game. Yes? So, what are the rules of this game? Suppose we wish to distinguish between the main, say the main examination, main and the interview. Say we want to distinguish. Yes? Say, is the main examination a test of your personality? Not much, to a certain extent. I would say yes, but the emphasis could be less. Yes, when you are writing, when you are answering a whole lot of things, so those 7 papers, now, is it not testing your perseverance? No? Your understanding, your comprehension, your ability to express, communicate what you want to say, are you able to do that clearly? Yes, that's a part of personality. Yes? So, it is, but if I just put certain things here, try and distinguish between the two in terms of where the emphasis lies. Suppose I have to write, say, IQ and EQ. Alright, is it a test of both? Yes, definitely. Why not? They're trying to test your emotional maturity and quotient through your ethics paper, through your essay paper, through other papers also. Definitely, but somewhat indirectly. Alright. Now, in the interview, yes, the IQ element might reduce and the EQ element increases. So there is an explicit emphasis on your emotional maturity, your emotional quotient. How you behave is not tested through your main examination. How you behave. Your interpersonal skills are not tested. You might say or write something very good, but when it comes to practicing, you don't practice it. You might say, oh, I am sitting in my office and somebody walks in and is shouting, and you say, what will you do? I will maintain my cool and ask him to sit down, offer him a glass of water, listen to him. Actually, when it happens, somebody walks in shouting, you are a different person. Right? So there is a difference between what you write and how you would behave in such situations. So the focus shifts to your emotional maturity, your emotional quotient. Definitely. So let me just again say that if I put it as, say, knowledge and, say, wisdom, here again I would say the knowledge component goes down. Let me put two down arrows here, and the wisdom component goes up. I am putting two arrows to distinguish that the focus significantly shifts towards a test of wisdom. Now, what do we mean by wisdom? Wisdom is knowledge in action. Simple. How much of what you say you practice? Alright, let's just keep it simple that way. And it shows up in the boardroom. Alright. So in the main examination, what will you be given marks on? What you write, and say what you don't write. What you write and what you don't write. Now tell me, will you be given marks on what you don't write? Yes, no? Yes, no? I'll put a big question mark here. Two of them. Or maybe strike it out if you don't mind. Now, suppose you wrote, out of 10 questions, you wrote only 5. An examiner finds, oh, those 5 questions were brilliantly written. Now, should the examiner extrapolate the marks for those 5 questions to the 6th, 7th, 8th and give you marks? No. But in the interview, if you did not answer, maybe say 10 questions. Alright? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The marks will depend on how you answered the 10 questions that you answered, rather than the 10 that you missed. If the questions are something very obvious that we should know, and then you miss such questions, yes, some penalty could be there. So here, what you say, will you be given marks on what you say? Yes. And what you don't say. What you don't say. What you don't say. I'm sorry for this. Now, will you be given marks for what you don't say? Yes. Or will you lose marks? Yes. So you may not say, but say, I want full screen. Yeah? Say, I walk into the boardroom with my, say, shoulders pulled behind, something like this. Something like this. I'm not saying anything. Alright? And I walk like this. Or say, I walk into the boardroom like this. I may not be saying, but say, I am communicating a personality that is suppressed, a personality that is aggressive, or maybe arrogant, or disrespectful. Or the way I sit, I'm not saying, yet I'm saying I'll be evaluated, say, on the way I am sitting, because it communicates something. I go and sit like this. I go and sit like this. Or how loud I am speaking, or how low I am speaking. So a whole lot of things that I don't say, I will be evaluated on. So remember, the way your marks will be added in the main examination for each and every question, and then the total marks you get, that's not the way the interview happens. Should you find all the board members giving you marks for individual questions? Do they do that? And do they add it up finally? No, they don't do that. Why don't they do that if every question was important? So something needs to be altered inside out. If I say, the non-verbal will count, your body postures, gestures will count, then people start asking, sir, how should I walk in? Sir, should I say good morning with folded hands? Or should I put my hand should I bow down a little and put my hand close to my heart and say, good morning, sir? Sir, should I do it with my right hand or the left hand? Irrelevant questions. As long as you are humble and polite, do it whichever way. Doesn't matter. So it's not this good morning, it is also very importantly how you said this good morning. Good morning, sir. Good morning. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir. क्या ऐसे बोलना है? अच्छा लग रहा है? Should you be too loud? Should you be too bold? Should you wish every member? Just bring in a little bit of awareness and you would know the answer. Rather than expecting the teacher to tell you, teachers will also tell you. But I would like you, why don't you do a rehearsal? Have 5 people sit and have somebody walk in and just make your judgment. Alright? How should he have walked in? Just make some corrections, you will learn for yourself. Learn for yourself. Start correcting others. Start observing, correcting and applying it to yourself. Just apply it to yourself. Simple questions, people might say, sir, how do I wish if there are 5 members and there is a lady member and the lady member is not the chairman? If the lady member is chairman and you say, good morning, ma'am, good morning, sir, it's fine. If the lady member is not the chairman, what do? And see, you will get confused by all this. It doesn't matter, it's not going to count. What will count is, are you smiling? Are you happy? Do you have the clarity? Are you confident? No? Are you happy being there? Are you greeting them? Many people forget to do that because they're so scared. So, take it easy. Take it easy. Don't unnecessarily get into this and 5 people giving you 5 different answers and then you come back, maybe to me, sir, he said this, she said this, what should I do? Use your wisdom. करेंगे? Do some rehearsal and learn for yourself. So I will give you an example. Say 5 members are sitting and there is a lady member who is sitting on one side. Right? So there are 5 people, there is a chairman, a gentleman, sitting in the center and 2 people on his left, 2 gentlemen and 1 gentleman on his right and 1 lady at the end. Now should you walk in and look at the lady and first say, good morning, ma'am, and then greet the other 4 members, say, good morning, sir? Or let me make it 10 members sitting and 1 lady in the corner. Should you say that? Think over. Yes or no? Tell me, at least tell me your preference. Should you do that? Why? I'm saying 10 members, right? And as you walk in and you don't even notice the lady, sitting in one corner, you turn your head towards the lady and say, good morning, ma'am, and then wish the rest of the people. Say, you go in a meeting where President of India is sitting, right? And 10 more gentlemen and one lady sitting on the side. Will you go and ignore the President of India and first wish the lady, good morning ma'am, and then good morning President sir? Should you do that? I'm just asking you to raise such questions, you will get clarity. Why only 5 members? You look at 7 members or 10 members or 15 होगा फिर क्या करेंगे? There would be some principle, right? I want you to arrive at it yourself. Have I answered something for you? No. I am supporting you to seek your answers. So try doing this. Say the interview is over, right? And they say, okay, thank you, you may go. Now, should you stand up and then turn your back towards them and go out? Or maybe you stand up, take a few steps backward, you facing the board, take 2, 3 steps maybe backward, or 1 step backward, and then turn and go. Which will be better? So just play with these ideas and you say, oh, my intuitive sense says, oh, this is how it should happen. Let us do it and see what looks better, what looks more appropriate. Is it not? Suppose you had to direct a movie of this kind, how would you like your actor to act? What would be more appropriate? सोचेंगे? Yes, no, थोड़ा. Yes, no. See, you are going for the civil services interview. You are preparing for that. So you are no kids, and even the kids I shouldn't be teaching, telling them, no, this should be done like this. No, if you ask kids, what will be better, they will tell you. And they may tell you faster than you. May, I said. Okay? So, what's unsaid is important. What is unsaid is important. Or what is invisible is important. What is hidden is important. The board members are looking for this. They want to find out, what are you hiding? Right? If you're hiding something, if you're manipulating, right? You will lose marks. That's inauthentic. That's inauthentic. So, I also want you to see why there are 5 members in the interview board versus 1 member evaluating your paper in the main examination. 1 versus 5. And 1 person who doesn't know anything about you, not even your name, your qualifications, nothing in the main examination, you are faceless. So 1 person evaluating, and this is impersonal. Impersonal. Alright? And here 5 people evaluating, and it is personal. Personal, because you in person for your personality test, personality test. They want to see you in person, who you are in person. And this is across the table. 3 feet across the table, you're sitting. So it is face to face. So why 5 members? And if it was to be a test of knowledge the way it has been in the main examination, then they should call you inside the boardroom, give you a questionnaire and ask you to sit in the corner and answer. In the main examination, there could be a choice of answering the questions in a certain sequence. You might write the 5th answer at the beginning. No? And then come back to the first page, answer the first question. You have a choice, no? But this choice is not there in the interview. You cannot say, I will answer your first question later. Right? No choice like that. On the spot, right then and there. So, spontaneity, mental alertness, alright? Your attitude shows up, your personality shows up, your thought processes will show up, and you have to speak in front of 5 members, very senior. The collective wisdom of the board is huge. Their knowledge, their experience, no match. No match between your wisdom and knowledge and their wisdom and knowledge. So all the reason why you need to be humble. So 10 eyes, 10 X-ray machines, right across. And it's not easy to be there. And while one of them will engage you in a conversation, the others are watching you keenly. So, what I'm saying, there is something very explicitly being tested in the interview. They're looking for something. Now, have you people gotten the interview test guidelines? Now, I don't need to give it to you. You will find it on the net. This is there in the Gazette. Yes, though we have given you a copy. Centers, I am not sure if the interview test guidelines you have with you. But you can even switch on your net and access interview test guidelines. Now, just as I said, your preamble to the Constitution is the fundamental document that you should use in your responses. Now, this document, the interview test guidelines, is another fundamental document that you should read and understand and appreciate and practice to have these qualities, right? So, I want you to appreciate this in letter and spirit. And in one reading it will not happen. Every word is critical. So, before we disperse for lunch, I'll send you for lunch in some while. Alright. Let's look at the interview test guidelines. It says the candidate, so let me put it as you will be interviewed by a board. And how many members? 5 members. Usually 1 lady member. Invariably you will have 1 lady member. And I don't know so much about the composition of the board. I don't want to know. But they will have, invariably always they will have a lady member and one member from the northeast. Maybe it is a lady from the northeast, then they don't need both, right? So somebody representing the minorities or the backward classes, right? Somebody from there. If a lady does both the jobs, then it's okay. And of course one will be a UPSC board member who will be the chairman, and the composition varies, but all senior, very accomplished people. So you will be interviewed by a board who will have before them a record of your career. So the sheets that you have submitted here, the detailed application form and the summary sheet. You will be asked questions on matters of general interest. You have any doubts on this? You will be asked questions on matters of general interest. Invariably, always, 95%. Right? If they ask you some questions of a special interest, something technical from your academic, specialization, they can and they will ask. Suppose you are doing a PhD, they'll ask you, what are you doing your PhD on? What's the topic? Right? Sometimes they will go into some details, some technical, some specialized questions they may ask. However, 90-95% of your interview will revolve around matters of general interest. The object of the interview is to assess the personal suitability of the candidate for a career in public service. Personal suitability. Personality wise, are you suited? Right? For a career in public service. Not for public service, for a career. Do you want to make a career in serving people? Alright? Are you oriented towards that? Do you feel and act in that direction? Or are you just wanting to get into the civil services for a job because this is a very good job and you'll have good posting, senior position, status, power? Is that all? Or your thoughts begin beyond that? That is anyway guaranteed, no? What is there to want it? They put you on a certain pedestal, whether you want it or not. Yes or no? So decent survival is ensured, and decent status is ensured, power and authority is ensured. There is nothing to want it there. It comes along. It's a part of the package. So, your personal suitability for a career in public service by a board of competent and unbiased observers. Our friend asked, sir, they may be biased. Should you begin with this thought? That they are biased towards some group, some community, or people with some educational background? Candidates will come back from the interview and tell you all kinds of things, that they are biased against engineers. And they are biased against mechanical engineers. And they are biased against doctors. Most people entering into civil services, a good chunk of them are engineers and doctors. They are not biased against anyone. But they will evaluate you, So, by a board of competent and unbiased observers. I want you to honor this, respect what is written here. If you misbehave, they will be biased against you. The test is intended to judge the mental caliber of a candidate. Mental caliber. So it's more to do with, big thinking. Big thinking, deep talking. No, it's not about your ability, it's about your capacity and capability. Right? What you may be capable of rather than what you have accomplished so far. Right? Are you building your capacity? Are you busy doing that? You should. So it says, judge the mental caliber of a candidate. So I would like you to look into the dictionary for this word caliber. Would you? Or depend on me? Don't. In broad terms, this is really an assessment of not only his intellectual qualities, but also social traits and his interest in current affairs. So three things have been mentioned here. Intellectual qualities, and not only that, not only your IQ, not only your knowledge, not only your intelligence, alright, not only the ability for having, possessing and processing information, right? This says not only his intellectual qualities, but also social traits. Social traits, your interpersonal skills. How you conduct yourself when you are with people, when you are with seniors, when you are with juniors. So with seniors, of course, they will know it then and there. Are you comfortable with elderly people, with seniors, people in authority and position and power? Alright. So, social traits, your interpersonal skills. Are you polite? Are you humble? Are you calm, composed? Are you generous? Do you thank people? Do you say sorry? So they will test you on your manners. It's important. So social traits and interest in current affairs. It doesn't say knowledge of current affairs. It does not say current affairs. It says interest in current affairs. There's a difference. Can you appreciate that? Someone who is not interested in current affairs and he reads current affairs, he would resist it, no? He cannot go deep enough. He cannot play with current issues. Yes or no? It's a test of your interest in current affairs. Someone who has interest will much effortlessly wade through, navigate through contemporary events and developments. Yes or no? And if some of you do not have interest and you have been reading, you can develop interest. But notice the word interest. It says interest in current affairs. Some of the qualities to be judged are mental alertness, critical powers of assimilation, clear and logical exposition, balance of judgment, variety and depth of interest, ability for social cohesion and leadership, intellectual and moral integrity. So many things have been written here. I would like you to look up the dictionary, explore each of these words, and I will also give you an opportunity to ask some questions on these qualities if you do not understand, if you want my help, some temporary help right now, right here. I would try and offer you something. Of course, besides looking up your dictionary. But let me read it. It says the technique of the interview is not that of a strict cross-examination, but of a natural, though directed and purposive conversation which is intended to reveal the mental qualities of the candidate. Why reveal? Because candidates will have a tendency to conceal. Right? They are there to look beyond what you say, or look behind what you are saying. Look behind what you are appearing, or what you are pretending or presenting yourself to be. That's why they have called you. And you should not worry about it. You should begin to look at what needs to be transformed. And knowing what needs to be transformed, half the work is done. It's very easy. We look into. So it is natural. Most interviews will be a natural conversation. Most interviews. Some of them become unnatural. But those are exceptions. If a candidate misbehaves, then it becomes unnatural. But that's rare. Okay? So it says, is not that of a strict cross-examination, but natural, though directed and purposive. It will look like a very natural conversation, easy-going conversation, but directed and purposive. They are taking you in a certain direction, and there is a certain purpose with which they are asking every question. You will get to understand this in the group mock. Okay? For sure you will get to understand, because when we will be giving feedback to the candidate, we will also tell you what was the intention or the purpose with which we had asked the question. And you will see whether the candidate got the intention or not. And we will do some exercises, some conversation in the post-lunch session for you to listen to the board members, to the questions completely. How we can do that and how we can talk effectively. So we will be looking at how to maximize in the boardroom environment in the post-lunch session. Right? Peak performance, how to get an access to that. That will be the pivot around which the second session that I will be taking. So the interview test is not intended to be a test either of the specialized or general knowledge of the candidates, which has been already tested through their written papers. So they are very clear. So not only is intellectual qualities, but also social traits. Interest in current affairs, not just knowledge. Right? Interest. Are you interested? Says natural, though directed and purposive conversation to reveal the mental qualities. It is not, the interview test is not intended, the intention is not to test your specialized or general knowledge. That's not the intention, which has already been tested through your written papers. How much can they test in a matter of 20 minutes? And out of those 20 minutes, maybe just 10 minutes of questioning on current affairs, or say specialized or general knowledge. How much can they test? They'll end up testing you on your ignorance rather than your knowledge. Yes or no? It will be unfair if they do that. They put you through 21 hours of main examination and 2 hours of preliminary, those 100 questions, and here over 100 subjective questions, essay type questions. All that you have gone through, so it will be unfair if they do that. Says the intention is not to test your specialized or general knowledge, which has been already tested through your written papers. candidates are expected to have taken an intelligent interest, not mechanical interest. Intelligent interest, not only in their special subjects of academic study, but also in the events which are happening around them, both within and outside their own state or country, as well as in modern currents of thought and in new discoveries which should rouse the curiosity of well-educated youth. Now, your preamble will guide on the principles. This should guide on what the board expects from you and how close you can come to this expectation. We will look into more, but before we go, I would like you to ask some questions on some of the words, maybe some of the words, so that I can give you some clues, something that you may not find in the dictionary. So what you will find in the dictionary is fine, that you will anyway find out. Something beyond the dictionary. Yes?
Critical powers of assimilation.
Critical powers of assimilation. Okay, so assimilation. Suppose I am saying something to you, or say you are saying something to me. No? Should I take what you said as it is and assimilate? Or should I critically look at what you said and be able to distinguish between what is right and what is not right, what is useful and what is not useful, to what extent it is useful and not useful, right? What is beneficial, I draw out from there and leave the rest. Are you getting my point? So, are you able to see the truth in a certain statement that has been given? Critical powers of assimilation. Are you able to distinguish between milk and water? Or the grain and the chaff? No? Good and the bad? Right and the wrong? Are you able to distinguish that? Critical powers of assimilation. And they will be asking, or they will be prodding or questioning many times to check this. Do you just accept it? Yes, sir, I also think so. Maybe once you did that, but through questioning they will be able to make out, are you an yes man? Right? Or are you somebody who argues on anything? Now that's also dangerous. No, if you become argumentative, you will lose the game. If you say yes, yes, yes every time, you lose the game. Either way, the critical powers of assimilation. Yes? Modern currents of thought. Whatever is the most modern, and the most modern subsumes the most ancient. Say for example, say the postmodern thinking or the postmodern philosophy. Now I would not like to get into this, but there is something called postmodernism. So modernism and postmodernism. Whatever is the latest, let's say that. Modern currents of thought. Okay, let me just ask you something. Have you heard of terraforming? Terraforming Mars. A modern current of thought. Do you think we will be able to colonize Mars in the next 15, 20, 30 years? Yes, no? How? You might say, yes, I think we should be able to do it. Somebody will do it for me. Right? How? where is artificial intelligence headed? Are we able to create life? Have we done it? I saw it in the newspaper yesterday only. Latest modern, see, all knowledge, whatever is there, is available at the click of a button. Right? So, do you have a temperament like that? Are you progressive, proactive? Are you open to these new discoveries, inventions that are happening? No? Are you also a part of this process? You get my point? Yes, something else? Social cohesion, or your ability for teamwork, to keep people together, inspire them, get some job done, right? Or does your presence lead to social conflict? So, conflict or cooperation, right? So that the interpersonal skills, the leadership qualities, are you able to lead a team, inspire a team, put a team together for some work? Yes? Yes? Moral integrity and intellectual integrity. So integrity is a state of being whole, perfect and complete. Alright? So, how do we apply this in moral and intellectual integrity? Just think like this. Are you able to see an issue spherically, multidimensionally? Or are you attempting to see it multidimensionally? All aspects of it. That will bring in intellectual integrity. Any issue from all possible angles. So, is there fullness in your thinking and understanding? Or is your thinking and understanding lopsided, piecemeal, fragmented? Even if it is like that, are you attempting intellectual integrity? Not that people will have this, it's rare to find it, but some inputs will help you start thinking in that direction, working in that direction. Remind me, I will give you the integrity tool in the second part when we are talking about the peak performance. Yes, one or two more? Yes? Mental alertness? Oh, very good. Are you sleepy in the boardroom? No? Are you not getting the questions the board is asking? Are you getting the letter and intent of the questions? If you are not getting the intent, the intention, the spirit, you are not mentally alert. Many people don't even understand the letters of the question. Doesn't matter. But are you mentally alert? Are you mentally alert? If you don't know something, it's okay. But that also requires mental alertness. Are you outside the boardroom, they ask you a question and you are drawing something from your notebook? Or what some teacher said? No? Have you gone out of the room mentally? Or are you present there? Right? So, if you don't know, that's not a crime. Right? But if you are not alert, not expected in the boardroom. If you don't understand something, that is also okay. But if you are not mentally alert and therefore you are not able to understand, that's criminal. I'm using a harsh word, but yes? Social traits, same. How people relate with you, how your friends, how your mom, dad, brother, sister, your relatives, your teachers, now in the boardroom, the board members, seniors, people in authority, right? And how do you interact with maybe the rickshawala, the bus driver, the chaiwala? And how do you interact with people in general? So, social traits. Are you getting that point? So, are you a social being? Do you take people together with you? Do you love and respect them and appreciate them? Or you always rebuke them, find faults in them, put them down, say you are worth nothing? Such traits will show up during your conversation. Are you democratic? Are you secular? So that's the larger thing as a part of the social traits. It's pretty broad because it says intellectual qualities and social traits. So your IQ and the EQ, if we divide everything into these, put them into only these two categories, whole lot of things will be included inside of this. Yes, one last. Clear and logical exposition. Clear, you understand? Yes? Whatever you say, do you say it with abundant clarity? Do you have the clarity? And are you logical enough? No? So clear and logical exposition. Exposition means, say, expression. Right? Self-expression. So do you have that clarity? इसको पढ़ेंगे कितनी बार? As many times, right? And not just read, study, understand, appreciate, reflect upon it, get every word of it, right? Discuss, and also allow it to show up in your attitude, in your behavior. Because if this is what you will be tested on, and read the Hindi version also, right? Something that you may not understand in English, you have an alternative there. Okay? And people who are good in Hindi, you should look at the English version also. Right? So both ways. We don't have a Tamil Telugu version, so it doesn't matter, you manage with English. Okay, so this break time, I have an assignment for you. So as you go for your lunch, why civil services? Will you do that? And nothing of what some teacher or some friend or some person has told you should unduly influence you. It needs to be your inquiry, alright? It needs to be your answer, your words. Of course, you did not create these words, alright? So, borrow but internalize, assimilate, let it flow out of you. Would you try that? Yes? I said, this question may not be asked. 98% of the candidates will not be asked this question. Yet this is the most fundamental.